I still remember the day my daughter's teacher called me incompetent in front of the entire PTA. My 5-year-old Emma clutching my hand, tears streaming down her face because her art project was unfinished, again. Perhaps if you prioritized your daughter over your career, Mr. Collins, she wouldn't be falling behind, Ms. Peterson sneered, her voice dripping with judgment. That moment broke something in me, but it also set in motion a chain of events that would change our lives forever. Being a single dad wasn't my life plan. Emma's mother walked out when our daughter was just 8 months old, leaving nothing but a hastily scribbled note, "I can't do this anymore. Don't try to find me." Just like that, I became both mom and dad to a baby who couldn't understand why half her world had vanished. I was terrified, overwhelmed, and completely unprepared. Every morning was a battle against time. I'd wake at 5 a.m. to prepare Emma's lunch, iron her clothes, and try to tame her wild curls into something resembling a neat hairstyle. Most days, I failed miserably. Her hair ties would slip out by noon, her sandwich would be squished, and something important would inevitably be forgotten at home. The daycare staff gave me those looks, the pitying yet judgmental glances that screamed, "This poor child deserves better." I worked as an accountant at Meridian Enterprises, a mid-sized firm where I was just another number cruncher in a sea of cubicles. My boss, Mr. Thompson, was understanding about my situation, to a point. "Family comes first, Collins," he'd say, right before adding, "but these reports need to be on my desk by morning." I'd spend my nights hunched over spreadsheets after Emma finally fell asleep, surviving on coffee and determination. If you've ever felt like you're drowning while everyone around you seems to be breathing just fine, hit that like button. Trust me, I've been there, and what I'm about to share might just give you the hope you need right now. The PTA incident was just the culmination of months of subtle digs and not-so-subtle criticism. Ms. Peterson had made it her personal mission to point out every way I was failing as a parent. Emma's hair wasn't properly braided. Her science project looked obviously done without maternal guidance. Her lunch wasn't nutritious enough. The list was endless. That evening after the PTA meeting, Emma looked up at me while I tucked her into bed, her eyes still puffy from crying. "Daddy, is Miss Peterson right? Are you a bad daddy because you don't know how to do girl things?" My heart shattered into a million pieces. I sat on the edge of her bed, struggling to find the right words. "No, sweetheart. I'm learning every day, just like you. Sometimes I make mistakes, but that doesn't mean I'm not trying my very best." "Then why does she always make you look sad?" Emma asked, her little hand reaching up to touch my cheek. "Some people don't understand how hard we work to be a team, you and me," I said, forcing a smile. "But we know, right?" She nodded solemnly and hugged her stuffed elephant closer. "We're the best team." After she fell asleep, I sat at our tiny kitchen table and let the tears come. I was doing everything humanly possible, working 60-hour weeks, spending every spare minute with Emma, sacrificing sleep, friendships, any semblance of a personal life, and it still wasn't enough. I felt like I was failing the one person who mattered most. The next morning, I dropped Emma off at school, trying to ignore Ms. Peterson's critical gaze as she noted Emma's mismatched socks. Laundry day had gotten away from me again. I arrived at work 15 minutes late, hair uncombed, tie askew, clutching a stack of unfinished reports. And that's when everything changed. "Collins." "My office, now," Mr. Thompson barked as I rushed past his door. "Great. Just what I needed. A lecture about punctuality on top of everything else." I trudged into his office, ready for the worst. But Mr. Thompson wasn't alone. Sitting across from his desk was a man I'd only ever seen in magazine photos and company-wide emails, Alexander Reeves, the reclusive billionaire CEO of our parent company, Reeves International. "Sir, I apologize for the interruption." "I'll come back later," I stammered, backing toward the door. "Sit down, Collins," Mr. Thompson said, his expression unreadable. Alexander Reeves studied me with piercing blue eyes. He was younger than I expected, maybe early 40s, with salt and pepper hair and the confident posture of someone who'd never worried about making rent. "Mr. Collins," Reeves said, his voice surprisingly gentle. "I understand you're handling the Westfield account?" I nodded, confused. The Westfield account was small potatoes, hardly something the CEO would concern himself with. "I've been reviewing some of the work coming out of this division," Reeves continued. "Your financial models caught my attention. You've developed a unique approach to risk assessment that's impressive." I blinked in surprise. Those models were something I'd created during late nights after Emma was asleep, trying to streamline my workload so I could spend more time with her. "Thank you, sir. It's just something I've been experimenting with." "Experiments that saved Westfield nearly $2 million, Reeves said. "I'd like you to join my executive team at headquarters as our new director of financial innovation." Mr. Thompson's jaw literally dropped. I wasn't far behind. "Sir, I'm flattered, but I'm a single father. My daughter." "I'm aware of your situation, Mr. Collins," Reeves interrupted. "The position comes with flexible hours, the ability to work remotely when needed, and a substantial salary increase. We also have an excellent childcare facility on site." I sat there, stunned. This had to be a dream. "Why me?" I finally managed to ask. Reeves leaned forward. "Because talent shouldn't be overlooked due to personal circumstances. Because innovation often comes from those who have to think differently. And because I was raised by a single father who worked himself to death trying to give me opportunities." The sincerity in his eyes made my throat tight. For the first time in years, I felt seen, not as a struggling single dad, not as an overworked accountant, but as a professional with value to offer. "I'll need to think about it," I said. "It would mean moving my daughter to a new school, and she's already had so much change in her life." Reeves nodded. "Take the weekend. The offer stands." That evening, I explained the opportunity to Emma in simple terms. Her response surprised me. "Would Ms. Peterson still be my teacher if we moved?" I shook my head. "No, sweetheart. You'd have a new teacher at a new school." She thought about this seriously, then asked, "Would you still have to work super late every night?" "No. I'd be home more, actually." Her face lit up. "Then I think we should do it, Daddy." Just like that, we decided to take a leap of faith. If you're facing a crossroads in your own life right now, remember that sometimes the scariest decisions lead to the most beautiful outcomes. Drop a comment below if you've ever had to make a life-changing choice for your family. The transition wasn't seamless. Emma missed her friends. I had to learn an entirely new role. But Reeves was true to his word. The on-site childcare was exceptional, and for the first time, I could actually attend Emma's school events without begging for time off. My salary more than doubled, allowing us to move from our cramped apartment to a comfortable house with a backyard where Emma could play. Reeves became something of a mentor to me. I learned he'd lost his mother at a young age, and his father had worked 3 jobs to support him. Despite his wealth, he remained grounded, often speaking about the importance of family and work-life balance. 6 months into my new position, I was finally finding my rhythm. Emma was thriving at her new school, making friends, and excelling academically. I felt like I could breathe again. Then came the company's annual charity gala. "Attendance is mandatory, Collins," Reeves said with a wink. "Bring Emma. There will be other children there." The gala was held at the Meridian Grand Hotel, a venue so luxurious I felt out of place despite my new designer suit. Emma wore a purple dress she'd picked out herself, her curls tamed into a neat bun thanks to YouTube tutorials I'd been practicing. "You look beautiful, sweetheart," I told her as we entered the ballroom. "You too, Daddy," she giggled, holding my hand tightly. The evening was going well until I heard a familiar voice behind me. "Well, if it isn't Mr. Collins. What a surprise to see you here." I turned to find Ms. Peterson, looking elegant in a black evening gown. My stomach dropped. "Ms. Peterson," I managed. "I didn't expect to see you here. My brother is on the board of the Children's Hospital being honored tonight," she explained, her eyes darting to Emma, who was partially hiding behind my leg. "Hello, Emma. Don't you look nice?" Even her compliments felt like criticisms. "Emma is doing wonderfully at her new school," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "Top of her class in reading." Ms. Peterson raised an eyebrow. "How fortunate. I assume you found a more maternal figure to help with her development?" Before I could respond, a hand clapped on my shoulder. "James. There you are," Alexander Reeves said warmly. "And this must be the famous Emma I've heard so much about." He crouched down to Emma's level. "Your dad talks about you all the time. He says you're the smartest, bravest girl he knows." Emma beamed, stepping out from behind me. "My daddy is the best daddy in the whole world." Reeves smiled. "I believe that. He's also one of the most brilliant minds in my company. His work is helping build hospitals just like the one we're supporting tonight." Ms. Peterson's expression shifted from condescension to confusion. "You work for Mr. Reeves?" "James is my director of financial innovation," Reeves said, standing. "His recent strategy saved us enough to double our charitable contributions this year." "Who might you be?" I introduced them, watching as Ms. Peterson's face cycled through shock, embarrassment, and a forced smile. "Ms. Peterson was Emma's teacher at her previous school," I explained. "Ah," Reeves said, his tone cooling slightly. "Well, their loss was certainly our gain. James has revolutionized our approach to corporate philanthropy. In fact," he checked his watch, "it's almost time for his speech." "Speech?" I echoed, confused. "Didn't I mention? You're introducing our new scholarship program for single parents. Who better than the man who inspired it?" 20 minutes later, I found myself at the podium, looking out at a sea of faces, including Ms. Peterson's. I hadn't prepared anything, but as I began to speak about the challenges of single parenthood, the words flowed naturally. "Being a parent is the hardest job in the world," I said. "Being a single parent means doing that job without a safety net, often while facing judgment from those who can't understand your reality. Tonight, Reeves International is announcing a $10 million scholarship fund for single parents pursuing education or career advancement, because talent and potential don't disappear when life throws you a curveball." The applause was thunderous. Emma sat at the front table, clapping wildly, her face glowing with pride. And in that moment, all the struggles, all the sleepless nights, all the criticism, it was worth it just to see that look on my daughter's face. After the speech, people kept approaching to congratulate me. Through the crowd, I spotted Ms. Peterson making her way toward us. I tensed, but when she reached us, her expression was different, humbled. "Mr. Collins," she said quietly. "I owe you an apology. I made assumptions about you and your capabilities as a parent that were unfair and, clearly, incorrect. I could have responded with anger or smugness. Part of me wanted to. But Emma was watching, and I needed to show her how to respond to apologies with grace. Thank you for saying that, Ms. Peterson. Parenting isn't easy for anyone, and we're all just doing our best." She nodded, then turned to Emma. "You have a wonderful father, Emma. I'm sorry I didn't see that before." As she walked away, Emma tugged on my hand. "Daddy, did you win?" I laughed. "Win what, sweetheart? Ms. Peterson was always mean to you, but now she's not. Did you win?" I crouched down to her level. "This wasn't about winning or losing, Emma. It was about showing people that families come in all different shapes and sizes, and that's okay." Later that night, as I tucked Emma into bed in our new home, she asked me a question that stopped me in my tracks. "Daddy, are you still sad that Mommy left us?" I sat on the edge of her bed, considering how to answer truthfully. Sometimes I'm sad about the way things happened. But I'm never, ever sad that I get to be your dad. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. She smiled sleepily. Even better than your fancy new job? A million times better, I assured her, kissing her forehead. As I turned off her light, she murmured, "We're still the best team, right, Daddy?" "The very best," I whispered. "Always." The following Monday, Reeves called me into his office. I expected to discuss the gala's success, but instead, he handed me a folder. "What's this?" I asked. "The company is expanding our family support initiatives. Paid parental leave, childcare subsidies, flexible scheduling options. I want you to head the committee." I leafed through the proposal, impressed by its scope. "This is incredible. It will make a real difference for so many employees." "That's the idea," Reeves said. "You know, my father never got these kinds of opportunities. He was too busy working himself to death to give me a better life." His eyes grew distant. He didn't live to see what his sacrifices built. "I don't want that for you and Emma." In that moment, I understood that Reeves hadn't just given me a job, he'd given me the chance to break a cycle. To be present for my daughter while still building a career I could be proud of. Today, 3 years later, Emma is thriving in 3rd grade. I lead a team of 30 people and have implemented family-friendly policies across all Reeves International subsidiaries. And I still make it home for dinner every night. Last week, Emma brought home an essay she'd written titled, "My Hero." It was about me, not because I'm perfect or because I never struggle, but because I never stop trying to be the parent she deserves. If there's one thing I've learned through this journey, it's that parenting isn't about getting everything right. It's about showing up, day after day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. It's about teaching our children resilience not through words, but through example. And sometimes, when you least expect it, the universe sends you an Alexander Reeves, someone who sees your value when you've forgotten it yourself. Someone who reminds you that your circumstances don't define your worth. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to hear more journeys of resilience and unexpected kindness. And remember, you never know who's watching you fight your battles, admiring your strength, and perhaps preparing to offer you the opportunity that will change everything. Because sometimes, the people who humiliate you for your struggles are just setting the stage for your greatest comeback.